Coming to paperback and e-readers, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. The aspiring angel takes on a wicked teenage witch in this action-packed all-new Esteemed series adventure. Pre-order your copy of Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. Coming to paperback and e-readers, John Haynes, A Thorn in My Side. The man who rules the world takes on an agent from the CIA from the Black Boule in this action-packed all-new John Haynes series adventure. Pre-order your copy of John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side at Amazon.com and other online booksellers. A black woman jumped to her death over Niagara Falls and took her 2 children with her.
In the news here at News 4 at noon, New York State Police are investigating an awful incident in Niagara Falls. They say a Niagara Falls mother and her 2 children are dead after going over the falls late Monday night. Police say 33-year-old Chianti Means and her 2 children, ages 9 years old and 5 months old, crossed over a safety guardrail and went over Niagara Falls on Luna Island around 9 o'clock Monday night. Police say the investigation found that the incident was intentional, though the circumstances still remain under investigation. Police say also that search and rescue efforts were not successful. We have continuing coverage of this incident at Niagara Falls tonight on News 4. As a reminder, of course, if you or a loved one are struggling with mental health issues, there is always support available. You can call the National Lifeline. That number is on your screen. We have additional resources on our website under the Founded on 4 tab.
Now, according to reports, 33-year-old Chianti Means allegedly went to Niagara Falls with her 9-year-old son and her 5-month-old daughter, and as they went to Niagara Falls, an allegedly despondent Chianti Means stepped over a safety guardrail at Niagara Falls with both of her children and jumped over Niagara Falls. And as she jumped over Niagara Falls to her death, they basically are speculating that she wound up losing her life and taking the lives of her 2 children. Now, New York State Police went on a search for the trio in this family, but sadly couldn't find any bodies of any of the 3 that went over the falls, and the New York Police are speculating that all 3 wound up dead from the fall that they took over Niagara Falls, and are seeing this whole disturbing incident as an isolated one. However, when I take a critical examination of Chianti Means' alleged troubling behavior, it definitely fits the pattern and profile for women in crisis that I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis, and also fits within the pattern and paradigm of failure that I talk about in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. And when I take a look at Chianti Means, a black woman who had a master's degree and worked as a domestic violence counselor, she definitely was one of these single, successful, well-educated black women who had a lot of great academic and success at work. Unfortunately, she could not make that work in the world of relationships, and as she couldn't make it work in the world of relationships, this basically put her on a road to becoming a woman in crisis, and that crisis basically put her on a road where she was on this paradigm of failure, a paradigm of failure which was presented on social media in posts that she made, where she said she was upset about a breakup with one of her child's fathers, and that relationship with that child's father is one that I basically believe was the thing that motivated her to possibly wind up taking her own life. Now, some reports say that Chianti Means was having postpartum depression, but when I listened to the post she presented on social media, it's sounding to me more like it was having everything to do with her emotions regarding this white man that she was involved with. Now, when it comes down to this woman, Shayanti means. Again, she was one of these single successful black women who had been indoctrinated into feminism, and as she had been indoctrinated into feminism, she wound up on this paradigm of failure where she wasn't looking to follow the lead of a man in a way that most women do in God's order. No, she was involved in a codependent relationship with a white male who was similar to a Pookie from what I saw in the Facebook post. Now, in these Facebook posts, she talks about how she basically was the one who wanted to give this man her taxes after filing them and give him a tax refund, and basically looked like she was the one taking care of this man, according to some reports. Basically, she is involved with this white man, and as she was involved with this white man, or possible white men, and had children by this white man was basically like a white male Pookie, and again, the Pookie she was taking care of him like a child, but he wasn't leading in the relationship, and as he wasn't leading in the relationship, she was looking to try to be the one trying to make this relationship work, but this relationship wasn't working and wasn't working at all. Even though she had gone out here and looked to invest in this man had nothing invested in her. And this is what happens to many black women who get involved with white men. Many black women who get involved with white men, a lot of times they go into these relationships because they can't make things work with a black man. And as they get involved with this white man, what they do to overcompensate for their inability to make relationships work is they invest a lot more feelings into that relationship. And part of that is because many of these kind of black women, again, deify and worship white men. And others do it because, again, they want to make the relationship work. And as they're trying to force things to work, what happens with many of these black women, because they're emotional, is they invest more of their emotions into this relationship without ever assessing if this man is investing anything into them. And when it comes down to these black women, since they are, again, so mesmerized by those crystal blue eyes, that creamy white skin, and that long blonde hair of that white man, they basically, again, become spellbound and mesmerized by the fact that a white man is paying attention to them. And as they're mesmerized by the fact that this white man is paying attention to them, they are not ever thinking critically about whether or not this man is making himself available to them at all. No, they're never thinking about how this man is investing in them at all. And in often cases, when it comes down to white men, they don't really invest much in these women. No, they don't invest much in these women at all. No, when it comes down to black women, a lot of times when it comes down to these kinds of white men, they basically, again, only see this black woman as somebody to have a casual fling with, or to sate a fetish about black women to see if things meet certain mythologies that were created by white supremacy as related to the Jezebel stereotype of black women. That's the main reason why some of these white men get involved with a black woman. But because many black women think that they are getting their social status elevated and they're spellbound by this whole idea of this white man paying attention to them, they cannot really think about that whole situation. And as they can't think about that whole situation, what they do is, again, invest emotions in this man, hoping that this will make him want to commit to them. And when their insecurities start to get the better of them, this is where they start escalating their efforts to try to get that man to reciprocate as related to investing himself emotionally into them. Unfortunately, they can't really understand that the reason why you're not feeling a vibe between yourself and this white man is because he's completely indifferent to you, and he's completely indifferent to you because when it comes down to most men, we are just basically indifferent and don't express our feelings on the outside like that. And when it comes down to white men, they basically, again, see relationships completely different than black men. Now, black men will invest some emotion in a woman, but when it comes down to the white man, he doesn't invest emotions in women, because when it comes down to him, relationships are not something personal, it's a business thing. And with it being a business thing, this white man is not going to invest his emotions into a woman. But when it comes down to black women, they want to see that man investing emotionally, because they're used to Pookie and Ray Ray going out here and getting emotional. But he's emotional because he comes from a single mother household. And these women, in an effort to try to get this man to invest more in them, what they do is then start escalating their behavior and escalating their behavior to the point where they're dropping the skid mark jockey draws and allowing this guy to put his Vienna sausage inside of the atomic waste reactor and get a taste of the waste from the special place. And when that doesn't work, as related to the covert contract they've created between themselves and that white man, what these black women do is then further look to up the ante as related to making this man, who they are deifying and worshiping, like a god. Because when it comes down to this relationship with this white man, he is a god to them, and as a god they want to again get the favor of God, and they hope that they can get blessed by this god that they're worshiping by going out here and having his child, and hoping that this will make him feel like he will give her favor. Unfortunately, when it comes down to many black women, just like the covert contract that they have with Pookie, the whole idea, again, of having a child for a man who is not committed to you or is looking to invest any emotions in you basically turns up null and void. And as it turns up null and void, what happens is that many of these black women get disappointed when they get really despondent, and they get despondent because they believe that it's not just a white man rejecting them. No, they believe that it's God rejecting them. And as they believe that God has rejected them and God has forsaken them, what happens with some of these black women, like this young woman, is that they wind up becoming extremely despondent, feel like there is nothing worth living for, feel like nothing is worth living for, because if God goes out here and rejects you, then you basically feel like you're going to hell. And that's what motivates these women to go out here and look to take their lives and take the lives of their children. That's what usually motivates some of these black women to take things to that extreme, because they basically have been so invested in the system of white supremacy that they don't see a value to their own humanity, and they don't see a value to their own humanity because they've become so spellbound that they want to fit themselves into a black box that's acceptable to white people. And when that white man that they basically have deified and worshipped has gone out here and rejected them, they feel like they can't fit into the world. And since they feel like they can't fit into the world, they feel like they have nothing to lose and nothing to live for. And this is what possibly, I believe, motivated Chianti means. Again, a single, successful, well-educated black woman to basically wind up being motivated to take the lives, her life, and the lives of her children. That's what I believe was the main motivation, is that this woman who basically looked to explore her dating options with these white men and had biracial children by this white man, again, invested everything in this white man, making a commitment to her, and basically wound up getting devastated, according to some reports, when she found out that this white man was cheating on her. This is what some reports say. She was cheating on her with an Asian woman, and this basically upset her to the point where she felt like she had nothing to lose. And it really shows how sad some black women are as related to not understanding anything about relationships regardless of race, and not understanding that when it comes down to relationships, you just don't invest anything emotional in a man until he shows he's going to make an effort to commit to you. That's something many black women don't understand, because they don't have a father there to give them guidance on how to have relationships. They don't have a man there to explain to them that when it comes down to relationships, you don't invest anything in that man emotionally unless that man is investing in you. And this is what some black women go out here and do. And again, because they get caught up in white supremacy, they get caught up in race, they think that this white man will be better than black men. But sadly, when they get involved with these white male pookies, they don't understand that the white male pookie isn't interested in committing to that woman. No, he's only interested in getting the draws. And once he gets the draws, he only sees you as somebody to just have a little fun with. And if he's not making any actions to make a commitment to you, then it's clear that he just wants to get his taste of chocolate and be on his way. That's something many black women don't want to hear when they get involved with a white man, because they start getting dreams of being swept off their feet and think they can go out here and make things work. And again, because they think they're the head, they think they can force this man to love them, force this man to commit to them. I've seen this even done with black women when they get involved with Pookie. They think they can go out here and they think that if they give him sexual access by allowing him to drop the skid mark jockey draws, that taste of the atomic waste will be so delicious that he will have to commit to them. And they think that, oh, if that doesn't work, they can go out here and get a baby for this dude and get him to love her. But again, if this man really was committed to this woman, again, he would do right by that woman from the beginning, and you won't have to go out here and give him your body or look to, again, give him money. Again, this is the sign of a desperate woman, a woman desperate to try to force a relationship to work because she doesn't understand how relationships work as related to God's order. No, when it comes down to a lot of black women, they try to follow the model that feminists go out here and do, where they think that they can go out here and make something work, but either a person is into you or not. And if they're a lot of times when it comes down to guys, again, if they're acting real distant, if they're acting real cold, a lot of times that guy ain't into you, and the only thing you can do is charge that guy to the game. But many women think they can force things to work, and when forcing things to work doesn't make them work, that's when these women wind up falling completely apart, and that's when they feel like they have nothing to lose, and that's when their behavior becomes despondent, and they start participating in these types of stunts like this woman did with taking her family over the Niagara Falls, taking her family over at Niagara Falls, where she basically took the life of both of her children, which I believe was really selfish. Now, some people want to say that she had postpartum depression, but I don't think that this was postpartum depression. I think she was upset because this white man rejected her, and this white man basically had moved on from his taste of chocolate to cream of some young guy, and as he was sampling women all over the world, he didn't really care about these women. And again, this woman basically wanted to make this man commit, but this man wasn't committed. And again, this woman basically again took down a bad road where sadly she wound up another black woman in the paradigm of failure that basically that's leading to a majority of black women remaining single. And sadly, this road on the paradigm of failure basically put this woman not on a road of success, but sadly on a road to becoming yet another woman in crisis. Now, if you want to learn more about how to identify the paradigm of failure and how to break out of that pattern and learn how to have a healthy relationship with a man, you can pick up my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find Why 70% of Black Women Are Single at other online booksellers like Draft the Digital, Google Play, Barnes & Noble, and big box retailers like Walmart and Target. And if you want to learn how to identify the behaviors of a woman in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Woman Crisis, on Amazon.com, and you can learn all about what leads to many women winding up on this desperate road, where it keeps them from being able to live the abundant life that God wants them to live. And if you want to see me make more videos talking about the woman crisis, you can drop a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book, The Man Crisis, comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. Now available for the first time in paperback, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Learn all the reasons why so many Black women can't find a husband and why 70% of Black women are single. Get your copy of Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Amazon.com today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.